The author of that letter, speaking to Fox Business in her first national interview on this legislation, joins us now, Democratic Senator from Wisconsin, Tammy Baldwin. Thank you for being here, Senator.
It's a pleasure to join you. Thank you.
Has Senator Hatch spoken to you? Has he responded to this legislation idea and your letter?
Well, we haven't gotten a response. I know that they are busy drafting up a new version of the Senate tax bill. We're waiting to see it, but right now I am not holding my breath that the end of the carried interest loophole will be a part of that. But I do think it's so important that we highlight this issue because, you know, for me, this is a fight about simplicity and fairness for Wisconsin families, small businesses, manufacturers. And this is the epitome of something that is not at all fair. When we have a carried interest loophole that allows Wall Street hedge fund managers to literally pay at half the rate as workers who make similar or exactly the same income. That is just not fair. Actually, and this should help middle class and working families.
Actually, not even. These carried interest billionaires, and these are just some of them. We're talking about Leon Black of Apollo, Stephen Schwarzman of Blackstone, George Roberts of KKR, Henry Kraft, Buffett. They're paying lower than what at least the House plan for people who make $200,000 and under are paying. Those guys of $200,000 and under, which isn't that much if you live in New York or one of the higher tax states, they're paying 25%. The billionaires under this carried loophole, and we can put it up because it's a very stark example of the wealthy paying a lot less in that way, is 20%. But one very important person is in total agreement with you, apparently, and that's President Trump. Have you said anything to your Senate compatriots on the GOP side about that? Hey, didn't the president say that he wants this gone to make it fair?
You know, I've been carrying this legislation to close the carried interest loophole for years.
Yeah.
And so this is a long-term fight for me. And I have to say, I welcome the news when candidate Trump said that this was a loophole he wanted to close. And I am urging my Republican colleagues, join me in helping President Trump keep his promise on closing this tax loophole. It is obviously unfair. It obviously runs totally counter to the focus that everyone says this measure should have, which is helping the middle class and the working people of this country.
Both Charlie Gasparino, our reporter, and I'm sorry he's not here because he would love to be in on this conversation, and I have been hearing from sources, and I just heard from one a day or two ago who said, the lobbyists will kill you on this. The lobbyists are being paid by these billionaires to preserve that 20% tax bracket that they are in. When they feel somebody's stepping on their air hose, they're going to fight like heck to keep the oxygen flowing. How can you fight those big lobbyists? Because they already appear to be having an effect.
Right. Well, you note a very important point, that Wall Street carries a lot of clout on Capitol Hill. All I will say is I've been unafraid to stand up to that group of people and their lobbyists, because this is about fairness, and this is about fighting for the people who sent us to this institution to do a job.
But, Senator, nobody's listening to Democrats right now. I mean, that is just a clear-cut statement. You don't control the Senate. You don't control the House. When you did, even President Obama and your Democratic friends didn't like your legislation.
Well, let me say a couple of things. One is this should not be a bill or a measure that is drafted by one party alone. We do better work in the United States Senate when we work across the party aisle and work together. And this should never have been set up in a way where it didn't require that collaboration. I see so much room and opportunity for bipartisan work on tax policy, especially on this particular provision. But they've got to really open up the table and open up the discussion so that we can work together.
Senator Tammy Baldwin, we'll see. We'll see if you get any traction on this. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.